How many people were robbed of a decent retirement? All right, so I'm working on my book, my new book, Reverse RMD Retirement Method or whatever. I haven't figured out a name for it. I can't help but wonder how many people said, I can't retire out of fear of running out of money. And then, lo and behold, they died at 65 or their wife died at 69 and just they did not have enough time to enjoy their time together. Look, I deal with widows and widowers all the time whose spouses died at 49, 52, 35 and stuff like that. And there's not much you can do about it. They shouldn't. There's no way they're going to be able to retire at 52. Well, I should say that. At 39, not likely to happen. And that stinks, man. But let's just say you're 62 and your wife is 58, like your old buddy Josh in Charlotte. I'm 4 years older than her. And you're sitting there thinking, man, I don't feel that good. I'm getting heavy. I'm losing sleep because I just got so much stress about retirement, so much stress at work, and just my blood pressure. They got me on these statins. They got me on this, that, and the other. I don't want to say anything more, but let's just say I took a bunch of stuff in the last couple of years to avoid something, and I just don't feel good. I'm putting on weight, but I got to grind it out because the 4% rule says I could run out of money. Well, not me. Most people are worried about what happens to their wife, their surviving spouse. Generally, but I'm single. Most people, same thing. Most people worry about running out of money. If you're single, you could be worried about running out of money. If you're married, you're worried twice about running out of money while you're alive, but running out of your money for your spouse, leaving your spouse a pauper. You're like, man, what do I do? What do I do? You see what I'm saying? And I'm just going to keep working, keep grinding. And I'm just going to share with you this. And I've shared this before, using the firecalc.org stuff here. And we're going to go over here to this is Ty Bernick. He didn't run this website. I'm sure he doesn't. But this is based on his reality retirement spending, that came out. I've talked about this a million times. I'm not going to get to it here, but we're going to compare two retirement plans. One is you have a steady increase in the rate of expenditures from 60, basically 30 years, from 65, 60 until you're 30 years later at 95, 90. Each and every year adjusted with the CPI, which frankly is just so freaking stupid because why does CPI doesn't affect you? I'm not saying the price of your electricity, the price of gas, the price of food doesn't go up, but what is CPI based on, man? It's based on so much more than that. It's so doggone frustrating. Transportation, to buy or lease a new or used vehicle is 17% of CPI. Are you buying or leasing a new or used vehicle this year? No? Then why is transportation part of your annual year-over-year CPI? It makes no doggone sense. The biggest component of CPI is housing. OER, owner equivalent rent. You own your house outright. Yeah, but how much does it cost to rent your house? I'm not renting my house. But if you did, what would it have to do with my individual CPI? Well, And then on top of there's another component of housing, which is rent itself. You actually, like 7% is going to pay rent. Well, not only I'm not renting my house to myself, I'm not renting. So basically 50% of CPI, I'm just shocked because it's just not relevant to retirees or me. So freaking stupid. Anyway, I forgot why I got off that tangent. But let's just go back. That's not saying there's no inflation. Like people always say, hey, have you seen the price of gas lately? You seen the price of eggs? I'm like, well, the price of eggs, I just got eggs at $3.99 a dozen. I don't know, but I get it. The price of food. Dude, I got 4 kids. Dude. Give me a break. You know what I'm saying? I know what it costs to feed these knuckleheads. You know what I'm saying? I know that my property, not my property tax so much, my homeowner's insurance, my auto insurance, my flood insurance. I know all these things are going up 100%. That's a different measure of inflation than CPI. That's what I've been trying to say. Using CPI as your default measure of inflation is just simply dumb because CPI does not affect you specifically. That's not to say there are other things that are going up. I'm not saying that, but my goodness, my friends. People said, I had a guy just posted, hey, but Josh, they're going to cut Social Security. I'm like, oh, why? Because don't you know the price of goods are going up and the government can't keep printing money, blah, blah, blah. All right, so anyway, let's go to this. Here we got a guy who's got 750,000 schmackaroonies. He needs 30 years of retirement. He's going to spend 4%. All right, so that's this guy. We're going to use historical rates of return. We're going to come here. We're going to hit this. It's firecalc.net or .com. I thought it used to be .net. I guess it's .com now. And what we're going to do here, we're going to kind of come back here. We're going to go to spending models, and we're going to show you that we're going to use constant spending power. All right, future spending will be the same as the enter above, adjusted for inflation. This keeps the approximate spending power constant during the lifetime of retirement. Then we're going to hit this button, submit, and we're going to submit it, and FireCalc's going to calculate. And using historical rates of return, we have a portfolio that has, let me just, oops, almost out, man. We have a portfolio that's, what I have in here, portfolio, I think that's 60, just cycling. So I'm just going to, it's a 60-40 portfolio of the long-term averages of the S&P 500 and intermediate to long-term government bonds. That's all we're doing. And what you see here is if we're doing 4% a year adjusted each and every year with CPI, going back to 1926 or 1887, I forgot. You see 4% of the time we ran out of money. All right, so, oh my goodness, I won 100% of the time. 5 cycles failed out of the 124 cycles you had. Now, again, as I always talked about, this isn't statistically relevant. It's just not, my friends. I know some people argue me to the blue in the face. Look, I just follow what my man Michael Edison says, who's literally a mathematician. I'm not going to say a genius because I don't think he'd want me to say that about him. But this guy says, look, if you're having, to be statistically relevant, it's got to be random. And if we're using running years where year 1 through 30 is the equivalent of 96% the same as year 2 through 31, year 3 through 32, that's not statistically relevant. We just don't have enough independent calculations for statistic relevance. However, we are saying if we ran 124 retirement cycles, going back to, I forgot what it was, 1926 or 1881, we have 124, and of that kind, 5 times fail. All right, so 5 times fail. So people are like, oh my goodness, that's still 5 times fail. And then we're going to come back here, and we're going to say, what if we did 5% a year? 5% of 750 is, so we calculate it. So that's 37,500. So we're going to adjust this to make it 37,500. Boink, 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 boink. 37.5. Then we're going to hit this guy right here, and we're going to come over here for our results, and we're going to see that you failed 39 times. So you had a 68.5% probability of success. So you're like, oh, I can't do that. Oh my goodness, I can't retire. Just a couple more years at work, and this time it'll be 2 more years at work. It'll make the difference. All right, so, but then we say, okay, but how about if we actually look at the data? Is there any evidence that people spend more adjusted with each inflation each and every year in retirement? And the answer is there's just not any. There might be some anecdotal evidence. That's fine. I got no qualm with anecdotal evidence, but don't assume that for everybody if you're using anecdotal evidence. So we're going to use a Ty-Bernicki model here. We're going to hit spending model. There we go. And what we're going to assume is that we're 65, and our spending is going to drop 2 to 3% a year until we're 75. So right here. So if selected this option, reduce your inflation-adjusted spending by 2 to 3% a year, and then stabilize at 76 to keep up with inflation. So basically, if the first 10 years of retirement, our spending goes down, and then it goes up with inflation at 76. I completely disagree with that scenario, but I want to point out that scenario is more likely than the continual adjusted spending at 100%. Because I don't think actually, A, your spending will drop that much in the first 10 years of retirement. B, I also don't think your spending is going to stabilize at 75, 76 years old with inflation. I think it's the exact opposite, actually. But let's see. So we're going to run that, and you're going to see what happens with Bernicki here. 1 second. Yeah, we're going to use right there. I'm going to submit, and then this will show. Now, as you can see here, we have a 100% success rate, and we're leaving on average $1.783 million. All right, so just running those 2 separate models. All right, one is constant, and that was the 5% retirement. I think it was 5. Did I have that still in there? Hold on a sec. That was with a 5% withdrawal rate. Let's go back here. Yeah, 5% withdrawal rate. And even the 5% withdrawal rate on Bernicki's, reality retirement spending, you never ran out of money using historical rates of return, 60-40 stocks to bonds, and the first 10 years your spending is going down, but after that it just goes up with inflation, which again, that's kind of like the retirement spending smile, which I just don't like. But be that as it may, so one guy who's 62 years old says, I can't, I got to dig those ditches until I'm 65 because then I'll be safe. And it's just not true. I mean, it could be, I don't know, but my goodness, man, how many people have been denied their right to retire based on faulty models? It's disgusting. Don't let that be you. Look at the data and say, something, and get on your knees and pray. God will give you guidance. If you hear in your mind like, I'm not so sure, then keep digging the ditches. I got no qualm with that. But you might hear something else. Prayer is always the first priority. All right, love your thoughts. God bless. We'll see you.